welcome to Civil War Digital Digest. I'm Will. At other times in the series, we've reviewed books and talked to you about a good way to connect to history through books. Today, let's talk about a documentary somebody else produced called Cailloux, The Fight to Freedom by Elemental Creative. Before we get into the episode, there's two groups I want to thank. First, our patrons, the CWDD Coffee Grinders. It's a group of people who each give a little bit every month, and that little bit adds up and helps us keep doing what we do here, and we truly appreciate their support. Also, this episode is partially sponsored by History Fix. History Fix is a new history-centered streaming platform that allows you to connect with history in a variety of ways, whether it's documentaries, movies, short films, or how-tos. You have a chance to take a look at that in an ad-free way in a situation where we know that the revenue goes back to the creators to help them keep building good historic content for us. Check it out. Well, let's talk about this documentary. If you hear me talking about something in the motion picture world and recommending it to you, this is my field of study and my profession. So I'm pretty impressed with this. What I love about this documentary is at 35 minutes, it is jam-packed with different perspectives. There are men, women, black people, white people. There is a soldier. There is an author. There are professors. There's a judge. All of these people are brought in by the documentary team to talk about one person, Andre Cailloux, and his relationship with a Catholic priest named Maestro. This story takes place in New Orleans, and we take a look through the documentary at how New Orleans was slightly different than the rest of the South in race relations because it was French before coming into America with the Louisiana Purchase, and we look at how that changes. We also look at faith in the area. Father Maestro is preaching about abolition in the late 1850s in the Deep South. He runs afoul of the Catholic hierarchy, and that causes trouble for him as he continues to minister to what he sees as his flock. We hear perspective from people in the Archdiocese and from the author who wrote the book about Maestro and Cailloux. Well, Andre Cailloux is the focus of this documentary. He's born enslaved, is freed in his early life, becomes married, and is working as a cigar maker, which is a profession open to him. He joins the Louisiana Native Guards, a regiment of African Americans who serve for the Confederacy at the beginning of the war, but we find out how they're treated and how they're left behind. So when Ben Butler and the Union Army come into New Orleans in 1862, many of them take up arms and join the Union Army. It's a great story. Cailloux's service takes him to Port Hudson, Louisiana, and we hear from the head of the historic site there, hear about the battle, and hear about Cailloux's death. Well, this may seem tragic, but this documentary is fantastic. It has a wide range. It talks about social relations and the specific microcosm of the New Orleans area. It talks about faith, and it talks about the service of this man. I'm singing the praises of it, but there is one area I wish they would have done a little bit more with. Cailloux, as we see in two primary source documents on the screen, is listed first as a lieutenant and second as a captain. No mention is made about how rare he is and how special this case is because he's a commissioned officer. We also don't see his actual commission, so there's some question in my mind, and I would have loved to see the documentary team push a little bit further on that. I like the style of this documentary. No narrator is used. All the voices you hear are the 8 or 9 people who are interviewed. That is just a ton of them for only a 35-minute project. It's totally worth your time. You can find it a couple of places. You can find it on Amazon, where you'll either have to pay extra to rent it or purchase it, or you can find it on History Fix as part of your regular subscription there. So you've got some options wherever you look. Find this documentary, spend a little time with it. Spend a little time with it here during Black History Month. It's a chance to take a look at a soldier who served for the United States, an officer who served for the United States. This man's story is now told. We don't know his face. We don't even know where his grave is. But his story comes to us today, and that's a connection with American history and our Civil War era. See you next time.